Let's take a deeper dive into this pretty hot commodity. We have Joseph Williams with us, former senior editor of U.S. News. Joseph, good to see you again, my friend. How are you today?
Well, thank you.
Let's talk about this. I mean, I was looking at the list. You can't just call them pop stars. I mean, it's country, it's rock stars, it's metal, it's everything. So how does selling catalog actually work?
Well, it's sort of like a lottery payout, if you can imagine that. I mean, over time, an artist will build up a catalog. Songs will sell. They'll be used for different, TV commercials. They'll be popular in clubs and whatnot. And over time, artists get a share, like a small piece of that recording called a royalty. Now, over time, that can amount to a lot of money. I mean, Bruce Springsteen is probably not lacking even before selling his catalog. But if he sells his catalog entirely, it's like a lotto payout. You get hundreds of millions of dollars up front. You get to cheat the tax man out of a little bit more cash that they might have taken if they had continued down the path of continually steadying earnings. And it also avoids a lot of nasty rights usage fights and custody fights when the artist dies. I mean, keep in mind, a lot of these artists are boomers, so they're looking at retirement. And there are a couple other factors, but those are the two biggest ones.
And I was also looking, a lot of the people who sold are people who co-wrote songs or wrote songs or was really the voice behind some of the biggest stars, such as Madonna. She comes to mind. But can you sell the rights if you aren't the writer? I doubt that.
Well, you can sell the right. It's a two-tiered process. I mean, the first tier is if an artist or a writer writes a song, they get royalties to that song. They can sell that song. However, at the next tier of the process, if a recording artist records said song, then they get rights to the master, the initial pressing or the initial recording of that song. So it's a two-layered process. So the artist who actually wrote the song can, in fact, sell that catalog, but it's typically more either the artist who recorded the song that's more popular, and they tend to write their own songs, or a lot of the artists that we've talked about tend to write their own songs, so they eliminate a middleman, if you will. So being able to write a song and sell it, or write a song and have a catalog, be a hit songwriter, you can sell that for almost as much as an artist can who actually recorded the music.
Yeah, we were showing Stevie Nicks while you were chatting there, and she's just one, but I understand only 4 of 5 core members of her band, Fleetwood Mac, sold the music. So what's behind this trend?
Well, what's behind the trend is Stevie Nicks had a very successful solo career on her own, you could argue. In addition to being the band, being one of the biggest rock bands in the world, Fleetwood Mac, she also co-wrote some songs with Fleetwood Mac and probably has the rights to those. But certainly she can sell her own catalog and a portion of the catalog with what she recorded with Fleetwood Mac, those songs that she had the right to. Now, there are similar battles going on. Pink Floyd, for example, they've had a bunch of disputes. Exactly. They've had a bunch of disputes. 4 guys can't get along, broke up because there were a lot of acrimony between them, and they can't settle on how to sell the rights to all their catalogs, so they're kind of in limbo. But if you share creative rights, or if you share creative content with somebody, it's going to be that much more difficult to break apart a catalog and sell it for your own gain.
Yeah, and to give you an idea, Pink Floyd, the number they're tossing around, more than 500 million. And that's a band, there's no easy way to say it, they're long in the tooth. I mean, they're not going to be out there turning out a whole lot of new albums going down the road. So is this just a huge boon for a lot of older artists? Because look at the ones that are out there. Bob Dylan, I mean, so many of the older stars. Bruce Springsteen, they have a chance to just rake it in now and rather than wait for the annual royalty to come trickling in.
Well, like Alan Parsons once saying, you can't take it with you, but you can leave it behind for your heirs. And you put your finger on something very important here is that a lot of these artists are towards the end of their careers. Touring took a massive hit, which where a lot of artists make their money. It took a massive hit over the COVID-19 pandemic when everything got shut down. They're looking to their future. They also want to sign these rights away to someone they believe will respect the music and treat it accordingly and not just dash it off to any old film or any old TV show, but someone who will treat it with care. So you've got artists who are looking at their future, they're looking after their children or trying to, and who are certain that they will have their legacy live on in proper context and not just in the latest straight-to-video movie.
You touched on something because with COVID, so many artists weren't able to tour, and they rake it in those tours nowadays. It used to be they would go out to promote, to drum up interest in the album, but now it's just cha-ching, cha-ching, especially like the Rolling Stones, some band like that. But I wonder what role streaming is now playing in all of this? Because so many artists really have issues with streaming.
Well, now you've touched on a very important point, mainly because streaming is the future right now. It's the present and probably the future. And if you're an artist who has a very popular song, you're getting a fraction of a penny every time that song is streamed or downloaded. So that's not really a way to make a living unless you've got this massive catalog like Neil Young or Bruce Springsteen or Stevie Nicks. If you're an artist who have been established, who has a dedicated fan base, yes, that will absolutely work. If you're Kate Bush, you get a song that's viral on a TV program, then you can make some significant money from streaming. Otherwise, it's what you can sell to the record companies, to the creative artists, to the Sonys of the world that will pay you what you think your catalog is worth. And even then, sometimes you have to be very, very careful because they're fly-by-night companies. If you're an artist, they're fly-by-night companies that only want the money and that will not treat the product as such. A lot of the details are in the fine print, but in any case, streaming has had a significant impact and is one of the motivating factors for why artists are selling their catalogs en masse.
Yeah, you touched on something we'll have to cover next time. I think of the band TLC. They took a beating. They didn't make nearly as much as they should have, but we'll get that next time. Always a pleasure to chat with you here. Thanks so much.